Happy Pride, everybody. That's a little song I wrote back when I was a worship leader. 22 years, mama. The worship leader, the clergy person to drag performer pipeline. Not as uncommon as you might think. I've met quite a few drag artists who share that history, and I love it. So I reappropriated some of my old tunes and gave them a voice, this voice, Flamy's voice, and it's fun to see how Flamy's kind of been with me for a lot longer than I even knew. I've only been doing drag for, 4 or 5 years, at the start of pandemic. But then, becoming Flamy has also given rise to a whole new set of songs and a whole new voice that I never knew I had access to. And this is one of them. This is a song called Fortune Teller, and it's about queer wisdom and how queer people can save us all, if you'll just let us. I'm a medium, I'm a fortune teller. I know every word you're gonna say. I'm a headstrong, lifelong city dweller. I can take you where we're going by the fastest way. We're gonna be okay. I traveled time, I'm here from the future. I can show you how this all turns out. I can save you with the data in my computer. We could flourish in the flood and avoid the drought. Yeah, we're gonna make it out. Feel it in your bones. Your head is moving slow. I'm a scientist, I got a method and a measure for observable, reliable, repeatable fact. I'm a decorated educator in the field of pleasure. I've learned a lot of lessons I can reenact. Yeah, I've been keeping track. Sense that I am true. I'm a prophetess, singing my story, a dressed up, effervescent, ethical fraud. But this world ain't ready for an allegory, no. We're still waiting on a literal God. I just smile and nod. You're having tuition. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I am from the Bible Belt. Grew up in Western North Carolina. That's why the album's called Bible Belt Baby, back there on the table. And I got a few stories to tell about coming up queer in the South. And this is the first one that's directly autobiographical, let's say. My friend Derek Webb likes to say that this job, a songwriter, is just being a professional autobiographer. And I really like that definition because I really like to talk about myself. It's my favorite topic. So to get to do it and get paid, girl, what a dream. Now I am a drag queen. I don't know if you noticed. So I do like to embellish things just a little bit, throw a rhinestone or two on it. So let's call this song 85% true, okay? This is What Did You Drag Me Into? Picture this, an American scene, lost in the cover of a magazine. Bible Belt baby, wanna be a queen. Lord mama tried to keep a little boy clean. She found him with her high heels on, a 2-foot train of green chiffon. That messy lip was overdrawn, it was shocking and obscene. But mama knows that she's been blessed, and she's always done her best to cheer her little angel on, no matter how he's dressed. And now her baby boy is grown, on stage in wigs and silicone. After the show she's crying, child, what did you drag me into? Oh, yeah. What did you drag me into? I said, oh. Imagine this, it's Christmas Eve, time for the church nativity. Papa's in the front row trying to see, and he rubs his eyes cause he can't believe. Mary, Mary, Mother Mild is played by a familiar child. His son is walking down the aisle, to a virgin shall conceive. But Papa takes most things in stride, and he works hard to provide. He likes tradition, and when gender roles are clear and codified, so he'll never understand why his son is not a man. All that he can say is, boy, what did you drag me into? Oh, yeah. I was baptized at the age of 12. Under the water, I came under a spell. I heard the Holy Ghost in the glory. She said, girl, you better go make a hell of a scene. Yeah. Girl, you better go now. I said, oh, la, la, la. Mama, why you melting down? Some babies show up with a crown, and nothing you can say or do's gonna turn that shimmer down. There ain't no need to be ashamed, but if you want someone to blame, look up to heaven and cry, Lord, what did you drag me into? Oh yeah, what did you drag me into? What did you drag me into? What did you drag me into? Oh yeah, yeah. What did you drag me into? What did you drag me into? What did you drag me into? Thank you. We were one of those families that was in church every time the doors were open, and very frequently when they weren't, actually, because I had to mow the lawns on Saturdays. got paid $5. It was probably 5 acres. You do the math. Child labor. But yeah, I grew up in Sunday school. Lots of Bible stories growing up. You know, lots of songs about characters from the Bible. Most of them about dudes. Okay, like all of them about dudes. I mean, I really can't think of a song about a female character from the Bible except for Christmas songs. So I decided we needed one of those. So I wrote it. I wrote a song about my favorite Bible stories. This is called Esther, Ruth, and Rahab. Yeah. Good names. I challenge you expectant parents to name your kid Rahab. Oh, that's a power move right there. Now listen, I am a drag queen and a grown-up, so sometimes I use salty language. That happens when I wrote this song. I'm not going to do that tonight because of where we are, and we have little ears in the room, and they're coming for drag queens for doing inappropriate things in front of kids, and I'm not going to be one of them, okay? But what I will do is I will substitute emojis, okay? It's going to work out great. Thanks for trusting me. Come along for the ride. This is called Esther, Ruth, and Rahab. In the church where I was raised, all the women hid their hair with what can only be called doilies made of lace. Yes, they sat beside their husbands and they never spoke a word, 'cause public prayer was not a woman's place. But literally any man was welcome to stand up, and for an hour we would listen to them talk. And I guess the lesson there is God would only hear a prayer when it came from a person with an eggplant emoji. Rooster also works. As a kid, those Sunday mornings made me restless, bored, and numb, and my Bible was the one way to pass time. So I spent the hour in search of stories brimming with suspense, and I found Esther, Ruth, and Rahab were sublime castaways who outwitted and outplayed an immigrant ancestor to the incarnate divine. Everyone has a star that lights their way. We see our paths by someone else's shine. Well, Esther, Ruth, and Rahab, they were mine. Every Sunday I would find a brand new story of a girl who made some patriarch meet his match. Now they were painted as conniving, but it wasn't hard to see. Secretly, most men just fear the kitty cat emoji. You know it's true. You know Deborah's military mind, it brought peace for 40 years. The witch of Endor, she saw right through Saul's charade. Of course, Eve said, screw the system, I am chasing after wisdom. And Rachel wouldn't let herself be played. Now Jezebel sure gave them hell, but she wasn't scared to die. If you're with JL, well, think twice when you recline. That's a deep cut. The only reason we have Moses is 'cause Miriam was there to keep that petty man in line. Castaways who outlasted and outplayed an immigrant ancestor to the incarnate divine. Everyone has a star that lights their way. We see our paths by someone else's shine. Well, Esther, Ruth, and Rahab, they were mine. Now when they talk about the the heroes of the faith. They always mean Elijah, Abraham, and Dave. But Esther, Ruth, and Rahab for me were just as big. I wanted to be like them, so I bought myself this wig. And like 58 other wigs, you can't buy just one. My church insisted women all be small, submissive, and unseen. But their own holy book betrayed that lie. 'Cause in those pages you'll find rebels, warriors, and queens, prophetesses, witches, whores, and wives, all causing scenes. Every woman in the scriptures smashed the norms to smithereens. Yes, they did. So it's a good thing when a girl learns how to fly. And that's one truth from the Bible I'll hold on to till I die. Thank you. Well, I know you thought you were coming to a drag show, but really, you came to a folk concert with a few extra sparkles where we're going to talk about religious trauma. Surprise. It's funny, growing up in a world where you're super isolated and also super encouraged to not be authentic and not talk about what's really going on, because it makes you feel alone, obviously, right? You feel like, gosh, no one else seems to be struggling the way I'm struggling. No one else seems to have the problems that I seem to have. And then you grow up, and you make friends, and you find out we were all feeling the exact same way. We were all going through it. And that's what this song's about. It's called Scratches. Had enough, but I was thinking of it. Had enough, but it was all I wanted. Fill me up because I need another. Fill my cup cause I can see the bottom. I will write it in my book of secrets. We collided, there's a million pieces. It's as delicate as dynamite. It's a hell of a firefight. We'll lay low until the fire catches. We might escape with only superficial scratches. What occurred after the cannons loaded? Vision blurred after the bomb exploded. Doesn't hurt unless I try to remember. What's the word for giving up forever? We'll lay low until the danger passes. We might might escape with only superficial scratches. And I wonder if our scars are perfect matches, or if you got away with only superficial scratches. I recently moved back to Asheville, North Carolina, which is, as I said, where I was born and raised. I moved away for about 20 years because it was the Bible Belt, and I was a queer kid, and I needed to go figure some things out. And I think I did. I don't know, depends on your point of view, depends on your perspective. But I'm back now for a lot of reasons. It's very expensive in San Diego. That was the biggest reason. But there were some other reasons. My husband and I wanted to be kind of on the front lines of where a lot of the hard things are happening for queer folks in America right now. The South is not a friendly place to queer folks. I know y'all have a little bit of that happening here in Iowa as well. So we did that. We wanted our votes to be in a state where they might count for a little more. California will be okay without our 2 votes. So coming back home after 20 years away and living with your mother and moving all of your drag into her house and your husband and your dog, it's you can't really be fully prepared for that experience. You can think I've done my work, I know how to stand in my truth, I know who I am, and then, something will happen and you will be 8 years old again. It's just the way it is. And my mom's lovely, absolutely wonderful, and I love her to death, and she is not the same person who raised me, just like none of us are the same people. Hopefully we're not the same people we were 30, 40 years ago, right? That's what being alive is about. But, things still happen. And sometimes you can be put right back in that childhood state. So this song is a new one. It'll be on a new record that's coming out in September. And it's called How to Find the Words. I'm going to take off this ring, as pretty as it is. Sometimes she gets in the way. We'll just set her right there. I don't even know how to find the words to start this conversation. Planning what to say, I can't help myself predicting our destination. Either I will end up saying never mind and tending to your ego, or I say what I need, try to stand my ground while you're letting me know I'm the only one in this family stirring trouble. Why can't I just take the high road? And I should bite my tongue. It's only a little difference of belief, so let it go. Wish I could convey just how deep it cuts when you say that you know better than I do about the body I've been living in. It's almost enough to make me walk out of here and never wanna come back. 'Cause if I can't be known or trusted by you, I can find what I lack out there. Chosen family waiting to embrace me. There are folks who know just how I feel, and you've had every chance to listen. I'm about to take this trauma somewhere it can heal. And one day when the wounds have healed enough to hold both hope and anger in their rightful place, well, maybe we'll get one more chance to prove that our relationship wasn't all a waste. And one day when the wounds have healed enough to hold both hope and anger in their rightful place, well, maybe we'll get one more chance to prove that our relationship wasn't all a waste. I don't know how to tell if you're happy, but I hope that you can hear me laughing. The world was hard, but it still held me, and I pray for at least one day when you felt free. I don't even know how to find the words.
Thank you. Well, speaking of, that new record, I used a platform called Kickstarter to fund it. Y'all know what Kickstarter is? You ask people for money for your project, and hopefully they give it to you, and then later, if things go well, you give them something back in return. So those things are called rewards on Kickstarter, and one of the rewards I chose to offer on my Kickstarter this last December was something I didn't really want to do. It's something I had seen a lot of my fellow singer-songwriters offer, which is to write a custom song for someone. I've already told you my favorite subject is you're looking at it. I had never really written a song for someone else about their story, so it was intimidating, and yeah, I didn't really want to do it. But I thought it looked cool, and I wanted to be like a real singer-songwriter, like all my friends. So I threw it in the mix, and then I priced it like insanely high, hoping that would, it would be there. People would think I'm a real songwriter, but I wouldn't actually have to do the work. Well, MJ from Virginia apparently had some coin to spare, and so she backed my project at the custom song level. And I said, I guess we're doing this. So we sat down. I called MJ on Zoom. We sat down and had a conversation. And of course, we hit it off. Of course, if someone's going to invest that much in your art, they have some resonance with what you do, clearly. And so we hit it off immediately. And I fell in love with MJ and took 5 pages of notes as we were talking. And we had so much overlap in our stories. So I was like, I got this. MJ, I'm going to go write you your song. And I did, and I came back 2 weeks later and gave her a little rough demo of it. And I said, okay, what do you think? And MJ was like, this is such a great start. And I said, MJ, I love a woman who knows what she wants. I want you are a paying customer, I want you to be completely satisfied, so let's get this right. And we did some back and forth. She had some input, gave some ideas, we did some revisions, and we got to this song, which is now probably one of my favorite ones on the new record. It's called Start Again, MJ's song.
Where did I come from and where am I going? Where is a mother to show me the way? Held in my body a lifetime of knowing this pain is the price I must pay. So many questions, each one forbidden. I was taught only to listen and trust. I learned to keep my truest self hidden, so deferential and hushed. So where do I begin? Gasping for breath where the air is thin. Who I am both in spite and because of where I've been. Can I start again? Traveler finding my pathway, emerging from expectations left behind. Stamp out the past like a stub in an ashtray. From now on the choices are mine. But how do I begin? At long last inhabiting my own skin. Who I am both in spite and because of where I've been. Can I start again? I know I will stand with or without a friend, 'cause I am a mother to myself and to anyone else who needs to start again. So here's where I begin, holding the hand of the child within. Who I am both in spite and because of where I've been. But we can start again.
All right. let's lift things back up again for a second here. Does anybody know, or has anybody heard of? It's a Twitter account, or an X account, I guess. It's called Libs of TikTok. That's the reaction right there. If you don't know what this is, I'll just very briefly describe it. It's run by a woman who likes to take what some people post online and repost it on her account, this Libs of TikTok account. Obviously, Libs is liberals. And I guess I qualify because I got reposted one day. Now, I'm a drag queen who does Christian music. I always have at least a handful of trolls in my comments on a daily basis. It's just part of the job. But on this day, I woke up and I was like, something special is in the water because, wow. And so I traced it back to this account where this woman had reposted a video where I was talking about my gender identity. I'm non-binary, I use they, them, and she, her when in drag pronouns. And so people had found their way to my account and were leaving just the loveliest comments you can imagine. Mostly what they were saying, though, was, this makes me so mad because you are just making up a gender. You've just invented a gender. And look, I will receive criticism. I'm happy to hear what people, I'm glad to engage and have that kind of dialogue and feedback. So I sat with that critique for a second. I said, making up a gender. And then I said, yes, correct. That is precisely what I have done. I have invented a gender that works better for me than the one I was assigned at birth. And I highly recommend giving that a try. As a creative being, you have that capacity to invent and make up and make a better world for yourself. I decided to write a song in response and post it and tag her. They didn't really like this song, but I do. It's very short because this was back when TikTok was still only 60 seconds, so I had to cram it all into 60 seconds. But this is called Everything's Made Up. Oh, everything's made up, literally everything's made up, like the words that I am saying and the rules by which we're all playing. Everything that is and was and will be is made up. Religions and borders, marriages, new world orders, the money that we tender and the rules for having a gender. We might agree on an idea, but that doesn't mean it's not made up. Just because something's imagined or invented or made up doesn't mean that it's not helpful for exploring our sensations. You don't have to get mad at something you think sounds pretend, unless you're mad about your own lack of imagination. Everything's made up, this song is entirely made up. I wrote it 3 minutes ago, 'cause I wanted you to know that everything that is and was and will be is made up. And since everything's pretend, maybe we could try to finally end the need to make people conform to some arbitrary norm. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, just breathe in slow and then let it go, 'cause everything's made up. I'm very pleased to inform you that that song is now in not one, but 2 different college sociology curriculums. Yeah. 2 different professors have reached out to me and said, oh my gosh, can I please put this on my syllabus? And I was like, girl, yes. I'm in academia now, okay? after a song about everything's made up, let's sing a song about my favorite Bible verse, shall we? I didn't expect to write this song. This is also going to be on the new record, and I'm a pre-planner. I know what I want to say when I'm looking at a record and writing songs, and I had all my notes. I knew what I wanted to sing and write about. And a country song about a Bible verse was not on the list, but sometimes your muse has other plans for you. And so on this day, I sat down, and she was like, yeah, Micah 6:8. You remember that one? It's been your Facebook religion status since you were like 16. No, not 16. I wish I were that young. Whenever Facebook came around. The verse, if you don't know, Micah 6:8 is, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly, baby, with your God. Walk humbly with your God. And I love that verse. It says, what else is required of you? And I've always loved that verse. And so here's my ode to Micah 6:8. It's called Old Religion, by the way. I want to do justly and see everyone succeed. I want to love my neighbor like I love myself, and that's a lot of love indeed. Pursuing happiness, that good life and liberty. But when justice rolls like a river, we'll know everybody's free. I want to love mercy, yeah, I want to lay it on real thick. There's so much fear and judgment, we need some mercy double quick. Let's spread that righteous, real compassion countrywide. In a world that can be so unkind, let mercy be my guide. Hey, little ancient wisdom in the here and now. Some of that old religion, not obsessed with power. Give me that good tradition. Who speaks to me. There will never be a single faith where everyone agrees. I may not know it all, but I reckon that's alright. I don't need every answer, just a simple guiding light. Hey, little ancient wisdom in the here and now. Some of that old religion, not obsessed with power. Give me that good tradition where the meek are blessed. The prison gates swing open and the weary find rest. Now, sadly, some will use your faith to build a fear machine. They'll try to start a holy war, even though there's no such thing. Those power-hungry men will call you wimpy, weak, and woke. But the humble, just, and merciful are the strongest that I know. A little ancient wisdom in the here and now. Some of that old religion, not obsessed with power. Give me that good tradition where the meek are blessed. The prison gates swing open and the weary find their rest. The prison gates swing open and the weary find their rest. Let's swing those prison gates wide open. Let the weary find their rest. When I think about it like that, I'm almost not embarrassed to be called a Christian. some pretty cool ideas. Okay, speaking of old religion, I'm going to try this. It's been a minute since I've done this cover, so I don't know if I'll remember all the words, but we'll give it a shot. I called myself Flamy Grant for a reason. Any fans? Amy Grant fans? I did get to hang out with some of the folks from Girls Rock and another organization last night, and it was so much fun. So I see a couple of you here. Hi, how you doing? Hi. And so we talked about Amy Grant, and sadly, none of them knew who she was. Which just reminded me how old I'm getting. But that's okay. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. Age to age, you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Ekam Adonai. I will praise and lift you high, El Shaddai. Through the blood and through the Lamb, you saved the son of Abraham. Through the power of your hand, you turned the sea into dry land. To the outcast on her knees, you were the God who really sees. And by your might, you set your children free. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. Age to age, you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Ekam Adonai. I will praise you till I die, El Shaddai. Though your word contained the plan, we just could not understand. Your most awesome work was done by the frailty of your Son. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Ekam Adonai. Age to age, you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. I will praise you till I die, El Shaddai. Speaking of women's stories in the Bible. Hagar, who that song references, was the first person to ever give God a name in the Bible, which is very important. El Shaddai can be translated in a lot of ways. My favorite translation is many-breasted nurturer, or the mighty teat. I love that. It feels like a drag song to me. I started doing drag in pandemic, as I mentioned, and I had been interested for a while, but I was a very busy person in 2019 and prior, and I was a worship leader at a church, a volunteer worship leader. I had a full-time job. I was in a band. I had a lot of things going on, so there wasn't really time to explore drag, even though I was enjoying every once in a while just going to a friend's house party and drag or something like that. Halloween 2019 was the first time I did drag. Halloween queens, it's a thing, and. But then pandemic happened, and suddenly I had all the time in the world, and rather than get a sourdough starter or watch Tiger King, I'm just kidding, I watched the heck out of Tiger King. That stuff was addictive. But I also found a lot of time to watch YouTube makeup tutorials, and I just started hanging out in my bedroom, painting my face in pandemic for no one but me. And it was great. It helped me reconnect with a younger version of myself. I started to remember times when I would get in trouble for getting into my mom's closet, pulling out her heels. There was one skirt she had in particular. It was a green, crinkly thing that was a floor-length skirt on her. So on me, I had to pull it up around my neck. And it was just this draped cape moment. It was fabulous. But very quickly, there's a handful of photos of me doing this in family photo albums when I was really young. But then, very quickly, I think my family and community caught on to what was going on and realized we better put an end to this, because this is not going to be okay. And so I, through the power of fear and shame, suppressed those impulses and those instincts that I had from the earliest of age. There was no drag queen grooming me, okay? I was very isolated, very protected from the world. Didn't know what queerness was until high school. But at the youngest of ages, this is what I was drawn to do. And suppressed that for a good 30 years, 35 years. And then, so when I was sitting in my bedroom doing this, not this is much better than what I was doing back then. It just helped me reach back in time a little bit. I think we call it inner child work. And hold the hand of my younger self and say, hey babe, all that shame that was heaped on you for just doing what came naturally to you, that wasn't yours. That wasn't yours to carry, and I'm sorry you had to carry that. And that's how drag started for me. It was purely that, inner child work. I had no ambitions of a career, of quitting my day job in nonprofit fundraising and doing this and singing here in Iowa City in front of all of you. That just wasn't part of the plan, but I pretty quickly started to realize that the work I was doing for myself and the magic of drag and the power of this art form is that it could do that for other people too. People started resonating with what I was doing. I had a video go viral, and every single comment on there was, this makes me feel seen and safe. And that flipped a switch, turned on a light bulb in my head, and I said, this isn't just for me. I think there's more to it. And so I started writing songs in Flamy's voice and recording a record, and the snowball kept rolling, and I slid down that slippery slope straight into a pair of heels, and here we are. This is a song called Desire of Your Heart, which is about that inner child work. It's basically Flamy singing to the younger version of myself. And there's a handful of verses that were used pretty heavily in my life growing up, and one of them was, The heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? And verses like that, and lean not on your own understanding, they're used, in evangelical circles at least, to really disconnect us from our intuition, disconnect us from our bodies, disconnect us from the divine installation of knowing that we all have. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous to tell us that we can't trust our bodies. That's how we end up in really abusive situations. That's how we start to think we're not worth anything. And I think that is important work to undo. And that's at least a little bit of what my drag's about. So this is called Desire of Your Heart.
How long have you waited for me? How many seasons, how many stormy skies moved in a time-lapse picture as you let the rain mask your tears? How many fools tried to write your story? How many names did they give you before we finally drove out of the county, drove away from the only town we knew? There was nowhere the bastards wouldn't try to drag you down. It was so rare to find a place where you could dream out loud. And even though there were of your heart, how deep did they sink their teeth in? How much venom did they leave inside? I felt you suffocating, soaked in shame and barely scraping by. How long did the lies deceive us? What was the truth that finally freed us from the fear and brought catharsis? When did you realize your heart is good? Your heart is good. There was nowhere the bastards wouldn't try to drag you down. It was so rare to find a place where you could dream out loud. But even though there were years we spent apart, I have always been the desire of your heart. When they see you now, They sigh and shake their heads in shame. It's like they need to flag you down just to say how much you've changed. But we both know I was there right from the start. This has always been the desire of your heart.
What's our time? 8:45? Got about 15 minutes, which is great. I think that might be time for 3 more. Does that sound okay? Yeah? This is also going to be on the new record. Yeah, you're doing a lot of new songs for y'all tonight. Where there is no vision, the people perish is a truism. I really take that one to heart because I feel like I've lived it. I feel like I know what it's like to grow up and be told there's no happy, healthy, whole future for you as a queer person in Christianity. That doesn't exist. And if you can't see that represented, well, we all know that rates of self-harm and unaliving are higher among LGBTQ youth. Homelessness is higher among LGBTQ youth. And I think that's because it can be really hard to see your future if it's not modeled in some way for you. I made it out, I survived, but a lot don't. And that's what this song's about. A little bit of context. There was a radio program called Dawson McAllister Live. Did y'all have that up here in Iowa? No? Okay, it was on Christian radio. In North Carolina, it aired on Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, and I would tune in religiously. I don't know who Dawson McAllister was or what qualified him to give advice to teenagers on the radio, but that's what he did. And I would tune in. You know, usually it was people were calling in with questions like, oh, my mom's a jerk, how do I deal with that? But every once in a while, someone would call in and ask the question that I was waiting to hear. This is called Hard to See Me Happy. Well, Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, I tune the FM dial to 91.3. I crawl into my bed and listen to a man answer questions from kids like me. That's how I discovered I was not the only one. A therapist at college was the second person I ever came out to. My best friend walked me to the offices. He was the only other one who knew that Christian college counselor said, here's what the Bible says. God didn't make you this way, but wipe away your tears. Happiness comes when you pray. But I had been praying for years, and it was hard to see me happy.
church. And even though I was gay, they let me stay as long as they believed it made me hurt. Yeah, they were always fine as long as I was suffering. Because God wants your whole heart and mind, and your body too. My dreams were not God's design. If what they were saying was true, then it was hard to see me happy. Who built these walls up and hung a sign that said God is inside them? Who collects the cost of admission? And what do they stand to gain by keeping us all in pain? There is only one time I am certain that I heard the voice of God. When I was driving, I was nowhere near a church when the Spirit called my name and said, "You're made for more than surviving." It pulled me to the water's edge, and there it washed my feet. God called me into the deep, and God is with me still. You have no power to keep me from the sacred. I reach out and take it. There's nothing I need from the gates that you keep. The divine is within. You invented a sin to make me feel worse, but I cast off your curse. I found freedom from shame, and I'm hoping the same thing for you. 'Cause I know it's hard to see me happy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Real quick, I want to take 2 seconds to talk about, we have our donation buckets that are going to Girls Rock, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. Love y'all, love Girls Rock, and I don't want to pull anything away from those. So if you're planning to put money in those, please do that, okay? I also have a thing that I'm supporting on this tour. It's an organization called the Campaign for Southern Equality, and this is an organization that's been around for about 15 years, and they're based in Asheville, in my hometown. So I've been following them for about a year or two, and reached out a few months ago, and I was like, I'm looking for a way to give back. Like, I play these shows all over the country, and I'm in front of a captive audience on the regular. I'd love to be able to give my audiences a chance to participate in something that matters to me. And I love the work y'all are doing. I love the way you are making life better for queer people in the South. And is there a way we can partner? And they were like, we're a nonprofit, of course. So Campaign for Southern Equality, what they've been doing most recently, and the program I want to tell you about, it's called STEP or STYEP, I don't really know. It's STYEP, and it stands for Southern Trans Youth Emergency Program. I think I got that right. And what this program does, you might be very aware that we've got a lot of states that have passed bills that ban trans youth from accessing best practice medical care, health care. They can't get it in their home state. Families are having to travel
hundreds of miles in some cases. Over 90% of trans youth in southern states don't have access to the care that they need. And so the Campaign for Southern Equality is trying to give those families that happy, hopeful future that they need to see. And so through a series of programs under this STEP acronym, they provide grants to families to help them travel for care. They provide services to help navigate the very complicated, very complex world of legislation, because it's different in every state and sometimes even in cities. So that's in 15 states. They're offering those services, and they've helped over 800 families so far just in the past year. And so I would just love to invite you to join me. I'm a donor to that program, and if you would like to just, there's I think a little glass back there next to a sign about the program. You can read more about it. If you got some bucks you want to drop in there, I would be honored and thankful. All of that goes directly to the Campaign for Southern Equality. There's also a QR code on that sheet where you can just go directly to a web page that has my face on it, so you know you're at the right spot, and you can make a digital donation, that way. And if you do that, I've got a token, a little piece of merch that's just for you. You can't buy it. The only way to get it is to donate to Campaign for Southern Equality. It's a little packet. It's got a cute coaster in it that it says Sparkle, which stands for Stay Proud, Radiate, and Keep Laughing. That's a brand new song I just released. And then a sticker is in there as well, I think. So that's for you if you choose to give to that program. I'd be so grateful and honored. But don't take away from what you were going to give Girls Rock, okay? There, that's done. The pitch is done. And I've got 2 more songs for you. And we're going to end. I'm going to spoil the ending. We're going to end with Good Day, which is the song that hit #1 on the iTunes Christian charts last year. Mind-boggling to me still that happened. I'm not going to tell you the whole story of how that happened because you can read about it in Rolling Stone. No big deal. But I would love to tell you, about the song itself and where the song came from. The song's a song I actually wrote pre-Flamy, and I wrote it for the church, the last church where I was a worship leader. It was a very queer-friendly, affirming space, and I was. At the time, I was a volunteer worship leader there, and I also was real adverse to using the word Christian to describe myself in any way. You know why. Because you say it, and then there's 8 bullet points that you gotta say right after that, and be but not that kind, and not this kind, and I believe some good things. So I just wasn't using it. I just wasn't calling myself a Christian, despite being a worship leader at this Christian church, progressive Christian church. I kind of figured when they launched a queer small group that I should go. I didn't want to go, but I was like, oh, I'm the queer worship leader here. Maybe I should show up. So I did. I show up, and there's a room full of homosexuals, and we're all staring at each other in our eyeballs, and it's all very awkward. And then the facilitator comes in and says, okay, let's go around the room. Let's do a little icebreaker. How about everybody share, how did you reconcile your faith and your sexuality? And I said, girl, that is 3rd date material. I don't know you. I'm an Enneagram 8, so I did raise my hand to get this over with very fast. And I said, look, there's nothing to reconcile. I don't call myself a Christian. Next! And I was so proud of myself in the moment for that response. And then we went around the room, and everybody else decided to be a human being and get vulnerable and share a little bit of their story. And it was a beautiful night, and I learned a lot. And we talked a lot that night about why each person was still sticking around. Why were all these queers gathering in a home on a Wednesday night as part of a church that largely doesn't want us, that makes life so hard for us, that does all the things I've been singing about all night? Why are we still here? And everybody had their own answers, of course, but for me, I heard a common thread that night. Everybody had something to say about sticking around and staying because they know what it's like to grow up where it's hard to see me happy. They know what that's like, and they also know they're not the last queer kid to come up in those spaces. And they wanted to give that gift to that next generation. They wanted to say, there is a way for you to be happy and whole and healthy and Christian if you want to. And you can imagine, I felt about this big when we were done. So I went home, and I sat down with a blank sheet of paper, and next thing I knew, Good Day happened. It was a gift. This song was a gift from the people in the room that night. And now I'm not going to sing that song. I'm going to sing a different one. We'll get to Good Day. But first, I want to do a new song. It's actually going to be the closer of the new record. I have a complicated relationship with Good Day. As happy as I am that it got to the top of the charts, and churches call me on a weekly basis now and say, hey, can we have the chord chart? We'd love to do that in our worship service. And I say, yes, you can do the drag queen song in your church, absolutely. But I have a complicated relationship with the song because it's a song I wrote for the ones who stay. And I don't believe that it is every queer person's job to stay. It's a volunteer role. Some of us have a disposition well-suited, right? And thank goodness, by the way, thank goodness for spaces like St. Andrew's and other churches that are affirming, and you don't have to make that choice. And you don't have, it's wonderful to know that there is a generation of kids coming up in churches who never have to wonder if they're worthy, or if they're good, or if they're loved, or if there is a hopeful future for them. I love that. But there are still churches where that is the reality. And maybe it matters to nobody else, but it matters to me. I wanted to write a song that just balances the Good Day scales a little bit. I didn't want Good Day to be my final word on the topic. So that's what this song is. It's called If You Ever Leave. If there's a thesis statement to my new record, it's this. It's, I need a God whose love is bigger than my own. And so far, the evangelical God is not living up to that standard. This is If You Ever Leave. If you ever leave, I hope you leave a light on, just enough to see the open door you left from. Before you go, deck the halls with something bright and queer, a big rainbow. They'll pull it down, but they'll still know that you were here, only taking what you need, a little time to grieve. If you ever leave, and if you ever go, please go easy on yourself, 'cause everything you know was planted there by someone else. There's no such thing as one true religion, babe, and a God who makes you cling to hatred for yourself is not a God who saves. It's mirrors and smoke. Remember, all of it's for show, should you ever need to go. You became the martyr they groomed you to be, bleeding on the altar of fraud. It's the greatest love of all, but if you ever leave, never
get to heaven and Jesus stops us at the gates, if he calls our love transgression and says I didn't die for gays, don't lose hope. I will take your hand in mine and I'll pull you close, and with my other hand I'll give that God a sign. Gladly walk away from him. We're better off in sin if he doesn't let us in. I'd fight to see you leave your shame, and I think God would do the same.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much for spending your Tuesday night. Tour life is weird, y'all. I never know where I am or when I am. Thank you for spending your night with me here, and thank you, St. Andrews, for hosting, and all the other organizations who made this happen, and all the volunteers who are. I saw people ushering. We've got somebody working my merch table, which never happens. That's usually like a honor system situation. So what a dream. Thank y'all so much. And I'll hang out. We'll hang out by the merch table, hang out in the lobby. We'll take photos. I'll sign merch. I'll sign body parts, whatever you want. It's up to you. But thank you so much. And yeah, this is Good Day.
It's been a while since I sat with you without a knot in my chest. Oh, it's been a while since I wanted to. I always felt a little oppressed. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since I went ahead down my guard, 'cause I carry the weight of the words you said. That makes it just a little bit hard to reject the lies you perpetuate. But you're not the keeper of the pearly gate, and it's been a while that I'm coming back to fight for my place. A good day come back home. You sent me away, but I was never alone. You were afraid there was not enough, but you can't run out of love. So I'm here to stay, and I'm sitting in the front row. It's a good day to come out of the shadow. God made me good in every way, so I raise my voice to celebrate a good day. Yes, I will. It's been a while since I could admit there was something missing. I've seen enough to know what love is. Yeah, and what love is, and I'm not content to fade into the crowd and let you decide who's in or out. So I'm coming back, 'cause I'm living proof that it all belongs without a doubt. A good day to come back home. You sent me away, but I was never alone. You were afraid there was not enough, but nothing's gonna keep me out of the light. I'm not gonna hide. I got a heart in the right place, covered in the good graces of an endless love. It's a good day, nothing's gonna keep me out of the light. I'm not gonna hide. I got a heart in the right place, covered in the good graces of an endless love. A good day to come back home. You sent me away, but I was never alone. You were afraid there was not enough, but you can't run out of love. So I'm here to stay and dancing in the front row. It's a good day to come out of the shadow. God made me good in every way, so I raise my voice to celebrate a good day. Yes, I will. Yeah. Well, it's a good day, nothing's gonna keep me out of the light. I'm not gonna hide. I got a heart in the right place, covered in the good graces of an endless love. It's a good day, nothing's gonna keep me out of the light. I'm not gonna hide. I got a heart in the right place, covered in the good graces of an endless love.